left, and I was in Calcutta at that time. Somehow I was always in denial. I was thinking Gurudev was never going to leave, even though it was clear Gurudev was showing himself to be in poorer health. It was clear that Gurudev was going to leave, but I was in denial. Somehow I always thought that Gurudev was going to remain with us forever. And also I wasn't in the inner circle of servitors, so I wasn't seeing Gurudev every day. It would be a very rare occasion when I would see him. Also I was mainly in Navajit, but I had some service. Mahananda Prabhu, he called me to Calcutta to work on some book projects, Religion of the Heart. And so by Krishna's arrangement, I was there at that time. And I saw Srila Gurudev, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks before he left. And it was very unusual because normally in those last days he was always laying in his bed. He was showing himself in a very weak condition. But on that occasion when I saw him, Ramchandra Prabhu, he made me come in, and Gurudev, he was sitting in his chair, and he was in a very, very happy mood and asking me about my visa and how much longer I was going to be able to stay. And it was just like a pleasant and happy exchange, which was unusual, I think, because normally Gurudev would be laying down, and there was many devotees. Gurudev pierced some like sadness into their heart, some pain of separation. But now when I think back to that, it gives me some relief because it makes me feel, the Gurudev was showing me everything's going to continue. I'm not going anywhere. Everything's going to go on. You are going to continue with your service. This mission is going to go on. I am still here. I am still with you. Our relationship is still continuing. And then anyhow, that day came when Srila Gurudev left, and it was such a shock. That night, nobody could sleep, actually. Everybody had the same experience. I was in the other building. Most of the Westerners, I think, they were in that new building where Gurudev was. I was staying still in the old building, in the ladies' ashram, and I couldn't sleep also that night. Everyone had very disturbed sleep. And then I think I couldn't sleep, and then finally I fell asleep like in the middle of the morning, and then I woke up like in the middle of the arti or something, and I think I woke up like just after 5, and the arti was going on, and Madhusudan Maharaj, who was Mahananda, he called me at that moment, and he told me, Vishakha, you better come. Gurudev has left, and I was just in, and normally at that time I would be in the arti, so I would be, go to sleep, wake up in time for arti, go to the arti, but because of my disturbed sleep, and I woke up late, and Mahananda called me that moment and told me what happened, and I was just in so much shock, and it was just like everything was spinning, and like somehow I managed to get my clothes on, and I just remember I kept repeating to myself, at least I could get my clothes on, at least I kept repeating to myself. I was like in this very delirious state, and went across, and Gurudev was there, and very regal, Deva Bandhu Nanda Priya, they said that night when Gurudev had gone to rest, he was normally Gurudev would sleep on his side, as I recall from what they told me. But on that night, he laid out in this very regal position, like this. And so he was laying like that, and so many flowers and garlands, and kirtan was continuing for hours and hours, and people were just pouring in, from all over. Srila Charji Maharaj came from Calcutta with a group of devotees, and there were just like streams and streams of devotees coming in and coming to take their last darshan of Gurudev. And then, I don't know what time it was, maybe it was like around 4:30 in the morning that Gurudev left, and kirtan continued for some hours, and maybe it was around 8 o'clock or something, I can't say the time. And there were many cars arranged, and everybody went to Navadvip, and then Gurudev was brought into the Nat Mandir for some time from the deities and devotees surrounding him. And then the preparations began for the samadhi. Then there was, while that went on, then Srila Gurudev was brought onto the platform of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's samadhi, and he was bathed there and dressed there, and then eventually brought to the samadhi. I was just in very delirious state. I couldn't really stay around, There are others, they can give you very detailed description what happened, but I was very emotional. And I remember I went into the office, and there were devotees arriving, as the news was spreading, there were devotees arriving, and I remember somebody had arrived, and Mahananda Prabhu, he came to me and asked me to arrange some accommodation, and I started cursing at him. I was like, you're coming to me with this, and I won't say what I said, but I used some bad language. And then, Srila Gurudev's form was placed there, and at the conclusion there was, was there an arti? I can't remember either. But I remember there was the rain, just when of course there was the salt that was placed on his body, and I remember seeing his cross-legged form and looking very effulgent and very bright, and really looking like in samadhi, in meditation, not like somebody who's dead. Deva Bandhu told me, because he was helping with everything, Gurudev's, because as I recall, he said that normally when people pass away, their bodies become very stiff, is that right? Mm-hmm. But that Gurudev's body was very supple, very loose. So then his form was placed, and then I remember at the conclusion there was some gentle rain, pushpa vrishti, I think it's called, light, flower, very auspicious rain, just when everything was finished and the soil was
And it was not rainy season, it was just summer.
No, it wasn't, this was March, right?
Yeah. Like today.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that when the rain came. I was thinking of that, and we were fasting the whole day. Nobody could think about food. And then in the nighttime, maybe 9 o'clock, everything was finished, and we ate something. The next day, almost all of the sannyasis were there. Srila Charji Maharaj and Swami Maharaj. It was after the 4th festival. So many. Then we had like just throughout the day we had like hours and hours of talks, and remembering Gurudev, discussing Gurudev. And that gave some relief to our hearts. Now it is 2018, so that was 8 years ago. It's really, as I understand from the teachings of our Param Gurudev, from the Srila Maharaj, and from my own experience, this separation from Guru, it is a necessity for our continued spiritual progress. And in the beginning, of course, was very, very bewildering. But facing this circumstance, it forces us to go deeper. As Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, the fire has come to test us. Many wonderful expressions in Shri Guru and His grace. Should we like to live peacefully? Such a tragedy has come upon our head. Should we like to live peacefully? Rather, there should be some difficulty, some challenge. Our field of sadhana needs all of these things. And so, what can I say? That the more that I'm out of necessity, going to take the shelter of Srila Gurudev without his physical presence, the more I feel his presence within my life. It is something miraculous. How much we can experience his presence, and how many miracles we can experience within our life. I wanted to say, that if anybody will go to take shelter of our Gurudev, with genuine faith, submission, prayer, they will feel his presence in their life. That is a surety that we can say with full confidence. He's still. We see how he is still coming, how his presence is felt in so many different ways in the lives and the hearts of his sincere followers. He's still guiding us and coming to us in so many different ways. I'm astonished sometimes to see how much that is possible. With myself, with others, and even with those who did not meet him, with his disciples, with his grandchildren, you can say. I've met a number who feel his presence, his connection very strongly in their lives, and I'm just astonished to see that and see how powerful Srila Gurudev is. So what can we do but try to open our hearts more and more to receive what he wants to give to us. We saw with Srila Gurudev, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was a living presence in his life, not in any type of vague or hazy way, but in a very tangible, very concrete way. Like sometimes he would say, I will ask Guru Maharaj about this. I will consult with Guru Maharaj. To the Charger Maharaj, he told how once when he was doing night duty, he came by Srila Shuddha Maharaj's, this was like around midnight or something, and he came to Srila Shuddha Maharaj's Samadhi Mandir, and he saw Srila Gurudev standing there. And I don't remember if it was at that time or later, but Gurudev, he explained that when, that he would go to Srila Shuddha Maharaj at that time, when it was like quiet, peaceful time, he had some problem, he needed to consult, he would go. And so still, Srila Gurudev was reciprocating and speaking with Srila Shuddha Maharaj. So we can take great inspiration from that. We can try to follow the path that our Gurudev gave to us, try to give ourselves to him. He can come to us in such a concrete way, in such a tangible way. We don't want anything other than that. But what else could we want in our lives? To have a relationship with someone who is embodying all the beauty and all the wonder of the Vrindavan plain. Who is embodying in every way the highest spiritual truths. Pure, genuine Vaishnava, saint, what can we say, to have a relationship with such a person. What else is there to live for? What more could we aspire for other than that? So we feel very, very hopeful. We feel, as Gurudev would say, that the future is bright. He would say that sometimes to the devotees. Your future is very, very bright. When Srila Gurudev gave me saffron, he told me, your future is bright and exalted. And that I understand. If I can follow him, then something will come. And that is not only for myself, but that is for everyone. If we can follow him, follow his teachings, there are only very great and very bright things that are waiting for us. This is not a mental exercise or some mechanical thing that we're going through. It is not something limited to our tiny little sphere of understanding, but such wonder, such greatness, such brightness is waiting for us. We can't really begin to understand what it is because it's not within our range of comprehension. It's simply not. All we can do is try to open our hearts to that, try to see what path is being extended to us, and try to follow that. Yesterday I was reflecting on this title, Sri Guru and His Grace. We heard from Goswami Maharaj that Srila Shuddha Maharaj, he used to they would discuss the titles, and Srila Shuddha, I don't know if Srila Shuddha Maharaj personally gave every title, but he definitely approved every title. But I believe every title came from him originally. I'm not
Goswami Maharaj was telling that he proposed something.
There would be discussion. Yes, but I'm saying that's what I was going to say. But I'm saying with all of the books, I don't know if how exactly they came, but definitely they discussed every title, and Srila Shuddha Maharaj approved. But as you said, in the case of Sri Guru and His Grace, Goswami Maharaj first proposed Guru, heavier than a mountain, heavier than the Himalayas, yes. And he he said, because this is what Guru means. Guru means heavy. That is the literal meaning of Guru, that they are heavy, they are fixed in truth, they are fixed in the absolute truth. Whereas we are lagu, we are very light, and we are fluttering with the wind. This way, that way, here and there, as we experience moment by moment, second by second, every day. But Guru is fixed, they are unwavering. And I think Goswami Maharaj also thought, well, it's like a cool title, like if I saw that in a bookshop, I would pick that up. So he proposed that to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, that is a partial conception. And Goswami Maharaj said, what is the full conception? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, Shri Guru and His grace. That is complete. Shri Guru and His grace. And so I was reflecting, we are like so fallen. We, like when we come to think of how glorious Srila Sridhar Maharaj is, how glorious our Gurudev is, it's like, whoa, like I'm like way down here, they're like way up there. Like how is it possible to have any connection with them? How can I even consider myself a disciple? Like what relationship do we have actually? Like am I actually following in any way? And I feel like some little like scrap, like in front of them, their brightness and their glory, their purity, perfection in every sense. Like what is our relationship actually? Like what connection do I actually have? And like if I were to like stand in front of them right now, like how disappointed they would be. But then we think Shri Guru and His grace. This is the link. This is the connection. Their mercy, their grace. So this is the clue. We have to find the way to attract their grace. We simply have to say, I'm in need. I really need your help. I really need your mercy. We need some sincerity in our heart, and we need some that feeling of humility and necessity. Yes, this is my position. But what is your position? You are Shri Guru and His grace. Srila Gurudev, he liked that verse. It's included in Kapana Jivanamrita. Paramo, how is it? Parama, Kurunai.
What?
What's that? We have Kapana Jivanamrita. Yes. Very good. And then the next line? Sochyatamo. Parama Sochyatamo. Yes, that's it. But that, there's nobody who is more fallen than I. There's nobody more lowly than I. And there's also nobody who is more merciful than you, my Lord. And considering this, you do what you think is best. Here it is. Parama Karunikana Bhavattara Parama Shuchatamo Nachamatara Iti Vichincha Hare Mayi Kamare Yad Uchitam Yadunata Tarachara. O Lord Hari, you are the supreme merciful, second to none. And my condition of life is the most lamentable, second to none. O Lord of the Jadu dynasty, considering this, dispense whatever you deem fit for this sinful wretch. So, there's no clear petition attached here. Simply I'm just pointing this out for you. I'm very lowly, I'm very fallen. And you are known to be very, very merciful. You are so merciful to the fallen. So you just do what you think is appropriate. You heard Srila Gurudev quote this verse many times. So that is our fortunate connection, our fortunate relationship through mercy, through grace. And so we need to have that consciousness that we are in need of that. And so the path of Sharanagati, surrender, submission, self-giving, that is the only way. Like wherever I am, like whatever like crap I have, like I'm standing here in front of you and saying like, please help me, like engage me in some service. And that was Gurudev's mood. He was so accommodating, like he didn't care like what your past history was or whether you went to the government guest house or not, or so on and so forth. But are you ready to do some service? What happened yesterday, he didn't care about that. And what was going to happen tomorrow, he also didn't care about that. But are you ready to give yourself in service? Whatever whatever your mentality is, whatever misconception you have, whatever junk you're carrying around, whatever problems you have, and so on and so forth, do you have some glimmer of a desire to serve and to give yourself? That's what he was wanting to extract. That's what he was seeing. And he was disregarding the rest. And so persons whom others may disregard, he was giving them attention. And persons who we may regard, he was not giving them attention. Because whatever qualification they may apparently have drawn from this plane, they were lacking that spirit of submission and service, self-giving. So this is our hope. Like whoever we are and whatever we are, we can just stand in front of Gurudev and say, Gurudev, please help me. Please engage me. Please guide me. I want to do what you want me to do. It is like so simple and so sweet and so wonderful. And we can do that, today. We can do that now. It's not that we have to wait for some particular circumstance or wait until we're perfect. Because sometimes we think like that, we have to wait until we're better, then we're going to surrender, then we're going to give everything. But here and now, whatever we are and whoever we are, we can make that prayer. And he will respond, he will reciprocate, he will take us. And we want nothing else than that in his grace. We must have such clarity within our heart. There's nothing else of value. And we're very fortunate because so many tests and examinations will come to us that will help to clarify that ideal within us, because we're carrying so many different conceptions within our consciousness. Unknowingly, we're holding them. Unknowingly. We're like children who have so many foolish ideas and misconceptions, but their level of comprehension is so limited. They're not even able to begin to understand how limited it is. Like, that's our situation. That's our very sad situation. So we're carrying all of these things within us, and we don't even know that they're there because we're not able to comprehend. But when we come to this path and we accept this to some degree or another, perhaps just in a theoretical way at first, we are accepting this as the highest thing. And if we have some sincerity, then those challenges, those tests, those examinations will come, and they will prove us, they will test us, they will force us to make decisions in the favor of that ideal. And so we will have to challenge, we will have to question our own beliefs. We will have to, those like subconscious thoughts, ideas, conceptions that we have, those things are going to be challenged. There's going to be a clash of the relative and the absolute. And we're going to have to decide. They're like coexisting within us, without our conscience, without our awareness. But when these tests come, it's like, oh, I have to make a decision here. I have to decide which way I'm going to go. And that, there will be points that we come to where we're forced to make that decision. And if we have that courage of heart, we have that confidence of heart, then we will follow the direction of our higher ideal, and we will make some further progress, some shedding will take place. Shedding of the false ego will take place. A brighter self will emerge. And so this is something that is going to continue and continue, like that grinding sandalwood as you mentioned the other day, until that sweet essence comes out. So sometimes for those persons who are diving deep, who are trying to, it can be very, very difficult sometimes. Very, very difficult, because so many challenges are coming within, without, and all around. So it is very, very bewildering and difficult and painful sometimes. But if we can try to, Srila Sridhar Maharshi, he comments on the Govardhan pastime, the Brajbasis, they leave aside their ordinary duty to attend to the call of Krishna, the order of Krishna, and they get trouble as a result. But, so Srila Sridhar Maharshi says at the end of that chapter in Loving Search, that, as a result of leaving behind our ordinary duties, then, so much difficulty may come to us. Even Indra, the master of all the subtle powers, he may come, to challenge us. Are we ready to face that? Even Indra, the king of heaven, he may come. But if we are careful to try to read the order of Krishna, to take shelter of Krishna, he will protect us. He will give us shelter under Govardhan Hill, where nobody can harm us. And so our conviction is being tested. But that is also a wonderful thing. That is also a sweet thing. That is bringing ultimately, if we are sincere, that is bringing about a deeper spirit of surrender. And that is when we get to that point where it's like, I give up. Like, there's that line, and I think it's in one of the Gopinath songs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he says, Amar Aneka Jatam Hoilo Bifal. All of my attempts were useless. And Ekana Bada Shatu. Now you are my only hope, Lord. Like, I tried myself in so many ways, and they all failed. Now I'm just standing in front of you saying, it's up to you now. Like, it's in your hands. And Srila Gurudev, a few times I heard him express, when I'm in so much difficulty, so much trouble comes to me, then I think to myself, Krishna wants to take my blood. And if he will take my last drop of blood, I will be very happy. He wants to take everything. Krishna is an autocrat. He won't lead anything. He wants the whole thing. We heard from Devi Shish Prabhu. There was one Western lady, her husband passed away, and she came to visit Navadvip, and some of the local, and she was really in distress with the passing of her husband. And some of the local ladies, they knew some type of magical arts, and they were able to invoke the spirit of her husband, and so they were meeting every day on the banks of the Ganges as Devi was going with these locals, and this was going on day after day. And then Srila Sridhar Maharshi heard about it, and he called her and he told her, Krishna will not share you with anybody. He will not share you with anyone. So Krishna wants the whole thing. We have so many knots and corners in our hearts, so many hidden chambers, shadows and dark, different reserved spaces for this and that within our heart. Krishna, he will not be satisfied till he can take the whole. He will And so he's very expert at orchestrating, different circumstances and different events to try to draw that, to like expose those shadows, expose those knots and those corners. He wants the whole thing. He wants it all in his name. And all the wrinkles and all the knots ironed out. So in the end of Shri Guru and His Grace, he quotes the beautiful verse of Srila Rupa Goswami about the Chatak bird. Virachaya Mayidandam Dina Bandhu Dayamba Tiri Hanava Vata Chit Anyamamasi Nikata Tushata Nirvalam Vanam Vas Tadapi Kila Payodas Duyate Chata Kena. That's describing the nature of the Chatak bird. That the Chatak bird is always looking to the high sky and waiting for the fresh rainwater that is coming from the rain cloud. And sometimes that rain cloud is merciful in giving rain. Other times the rain cloud giving no rain. Sometimes the rain cloud is giving too much rain, giving some storm. But no matter what, that Chatak bird is never taking water from the ground, and also Stuyate Chatakena. The Chatak bird is always singing the glories of that rain cloud. And so Sridhar Maharshi concludes Shri Guru and His Grace with that verse and saying we must never look to the ground. We must always look, we must never seek our fortune in the mud. Yes, I think that's how he says it. We must never seek our fortune in the mud, but we must always look to the high sky and pray for Shri Guru and His Grace. So we need that type of conviction, that type of confidence and faith within our practicing lives. No matter how bewildering the circumstances may be, we must follow our high ideal, adhere to the higher principles that have been given by our Guru Varga. We must never go down, no matter what, under no circumstances. We shall live a life for the truth. As Sridhar Maharaj says elsewhere, we shall live a life for the truth, with our eyes fixed on that high goal that is truth, and we shall trample under our feet all the temptations of this world, all the comforts of this world, for the sake of truth and the higher ideal. And so, sometimes I think, we already found, like, in this world, everybody's searching for something. That is our consciousness, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains. Consciousness by itself is not enough. Consciousness is always seeking. Consciousness is seeking feeling. Consciousness is seeking rasa. So everyone in this world, they're seeking. They're searching. But we already found the object we already found the thing to be sought. We already found the highest object of any search, of any seeking. We don't need to go anywhere else. We don't need to waste our time. Actually, like, everything's simplified in that way, like narrowed down in that way. Like, we don't need to spend so much energy searching for so many. We already found the best thing. We already found the thing. All we have to do is try to give ourselves to that more and more and more, day by day. And the more that we can do that, the more we can feel the presence of that, the tangible reality of that within our hearts and within our lives. It can be in a very miraculous way.
what you just say, I mean, there was that we already found. We're so fortunate that we found that kind of guru that without any doubt we can just surrender without any fear of being cheated or, there's so many things going on and so many gurus, stuff, business. I mean, when I think my fortune, I didn't know anything and I just went to India and I hand up at the feet of Govinda Maharaj. I mean, who will believe it? It's such a fortune that we have got to come to, associate with Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj. When I took initiation, I didn't even know what I was doing, but then it could have been anything, but then luckily, more and more I figure out I did the right thing. And I remember one of the first letters I wrote to him was just copy and paste this Atmanivedana song. I wrote, I cannot express my joy, Gurudev, like, coming to your feet, this song just perfectly expressed my feeling, and I wrote all of it to him as if he didn't know it. And it's so, with so much joy to come to meet Srila Gurudev, and not just him, but all his devotees and family. And it was so nice when Srila Gurudev came here and Siddhanti Maharaj said that he never saw him so much at home in any other place. I mean, this is what it told us to make us happy or something. But I mean, it was sincerely say, I tour with Srila Gurudev in so many places, but here in Villa Govinda he's so relaxed, he's so at home. And, and this is what we try to keep, not like that we become some institution where there is so many rules and regulations to suppress what was given by our Guru, this mood of love and affection and a very home feeling and relaxed way. And this song is telling that, I will render service in your house, in your home. And whatever trouble or happiness I will go through in your service and trying to please you, that will be the greatest joy. And so this is, I think, what is, Villa Govinda is like the whole of Srila Gurudev. And we don't have any installed deities, apart from Giriraj, and there was, I was feeling it okay, we don't have deities here, but then Gurudev is coming and his Pushpa Samadhi will do, he's here, and I think that is good for us because we're not qualified to worship the deities properly, so we know ourselves. And maybe that one day will come someone who's qualified to do that, who knows. But Gurudev is very merciful, and I'm confident. I was very happy because at some point I was hearing from Shileka Devi so many stories she knows about the Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna and this and that. And when I was with Srila Gurudev, I barely heard any Krishna Leela or anything from him. He was always talking about Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Barely was telling anything about, when I was there, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then I was little I would like to know some, hearing from Shileka and this ISKCON devotee, they know so much about Krishna also. But, in time I realize what is what. I'm still trying to realize it. I'm happy that, it was that way, and more happy I was because I was thinking I don't know anything about, Radha Krishna pastimes or anything about anything, but it's too hard to say. But everything I know is just Gurudev. That's it. And when I hear again and again, like from Tyagi Maharaj saying that in the translation of that verse, that Guru Bhakti is the means to attain Krishna Prema, but he also means Guru Bhakti is all in all, is
the end.
Is the mean, the end, is everything. Then I feel like no problem. If the only things I would know in this life about Krishna is Gurudev, then sometimes I'm a little worried because the scripture saying you must have same faith in Krishna and Gurudev. And Krishna I don't know. So but I'm thinking Gurudev, not that I know, but he was very merciful to me. So I feel kind of safe with that. Kind of. And so we're very happy that this Pushpa Samadhi ceremony of Srila Gurudev is happening in the presence of, Srila Madhusudan Maharaj, who was, everyone knows Mama Nanda Prabhu, right? How can you think of Gurudev and Navadvip without also including Mahananda Prabhu? So it was one of the must that the Pushpa Samadhi ceremony must have Srila Madhusudan Maharaj, and we wouldn't do it without him. And last year, for some reason, we couldn't come, or something, I don't know. Then we decided anyway to postpone because so many reasons, but but Madhusudan Maharaj, we really wanted to be present, and then he was, and it was very nice that Sripad Maharaj did the fire sacrifice ceremony because he is the most qualified for that, and then Vishakha did the chant, the arati to Srila Gurudev. It was just perfect, everything, and then that rain came. Maybe not gentle rain, little bucket. But rain is rain. Because I heard from Avadut Maharaj that the rain that came in Navadip, it was very unusual and it was very gentle rain, and if you, maybe, I don't know who told me about, but if you looked up, it was just like flower petals coming down. It was like a dancing rain, very gentle and soft that came after the Samadhi. So it was very auspicious, like flower petals coming down.
At first it was like that.
Yeah, at first.
Yeah.
You was there?
No, but today it was like that.
Oh,
Super.
today. Yes.
And then Gurudev got children's play. That's even his favorite. So.
They were climbing in the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was a perfect day today.
Yes.
And the sweet mood of the devotees of Srila Gurudev, sweet mood of the Govinda, and Madhurananda sprinkling water to the heaven, and and the herbs, the medicinal herbs.
That was the best part.
Yeah, some fun. So I just want to thank everybody that came and made this day very beautiful. And the Pushpa Samadhi, the building will actually come in Mandir at the end of August. If anyone wants to come back for the Janmashtami festival, we will have another festival. So it's also nice that, after the disappearance of Srila Guru Maharaj was yesterday, we select this date for Srila Gurudev also Samadhi ceremony. And 15 years ago was the first visit in Villa Govinda. It was when we offered Villa Govinda to Srila Gurudev, and we came. We saw the video. So this year is like a very special year for us in Villa Govinda, because 15 years of Villa Govinda, 15 years from the first visit of Gurudev, and the end of the Molgate. So this is like the lock on the garland, the Pushpa Samadhi of so many years of service of all we can start another garden, but you know, one garden.
Another
is-
chapter.
So we were hoping that the whole devotees from all over the world could come. And last year they came. We were supposed to have the festival last year, but they came for that. But so you know, it's okay. They were happy anyway to be here. And so many devotees gave donation for this one here. Now I cannot remember them all if I start name. Then somebody will be left. But today I forgot mentioning Ramachandra Prabhu, and of course Jayanta Krishna and Rajamohini. And I did say, of course, Paramananda and Janvi from Russia. Sandeep Prabhu, Maheshwari, Janvi. Yeah, Jayashri, of course, and Krishna, and so many gave. Who gave much, who gave little, everyone gave some donation for this, and everyone here is giving donation. And the Italian devotees also, Mohini, Aloka Chandra, Chandra Kanti, and Diva Bandhu, Dina Bandhu, and yes, Prafula Krishna Prabhu, and Diva Bandhu and Andapriya, they just gave.
Doya Moy and Chimoy.
I mean, I cannot. I mean, sorry.
Advai Krishna and Janvi.
Yes, everyone here.
And also, I must say, Shanti Moy, she was completely unemployed, bankrupt. She earned a little bit of money, and she almost gave all for the Vishakha to become again bankrupt.
I mean, of course. One on one under, they just giving their life. So I think that's enough. And yes, I mean everyone. I for sure am forgetting someone, and back to this. And so yeah.
Sandeep and
I
Mahesh.
say when another good Maharaj gave me inspiration. Yes, no, of course, whoever is here, we will play, whoever is here, yeah, for the decoration, we have a lot to make very nice. Invita, yes, Invita here. Sarasvati, of course. And just with the presence, everyone who's here to make this festival glorious.
And the preacher.
And Buchana. What's the name of the initiative name of
John, right? His wife?
Yes. The name of the group. So they are building they built the temple in near Jaipur, near Nagarpur. And there now is on a boat.
So you think for Janmashtami you will have installed it?
We think it will arrive the 26th in the Genova port. Then we will have to bring it here and build it because it comes into pieces. So we'll have to figure out how to.
What, 3,500 kg?
4,000. I mean, in pieces.
In pieces.
Like IKEA instructions?
With IKEA
Indian
Indie handwriting stuff.
No, challenge. We see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, we all thank you.
Yes.
Does anyone else want to say anything?
Yes. Govinda, Prabhu, you want to say something?
What you told one.
Yes.
Vishakha and Vishakha. just Guru Bhakti is the main thing. As you told, we are not deities, but we are the supreme deities of Gurudev. We worship. Guru Bhakti is all in all.
And the main teaching of Gurudev, when I joined, I remember he was talking repeatedly about chastity and sincerity. We have to remember his teaching and, of course, humility, tolerance, and give honor to others. But I remember when I first joined, mostly I remember it was like chastity and sincerity. Chastity to the Guru and sincerity, service to the Guru.
Love and affection. We should continue to